S3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome to another episode of Queen3 King. I, King Doc, your host, and I also got some co-hosts with me and a special guest today, which we'll get to in just a moment. The educator Queen is having some technical difficulties. I see that she is on now, but having some video difficulties, so we'll bring her on as soon as we're ready. In fact, without her, the show probably going to be a little bit better than it normally is, so we ain't going to worry too much about it.
Don't do that.
But we're going to start our introductions here. We'll start with the seasoned queen out in Anna, Texas, by way of East Garland, Texas. The East Side Queen, that's a new nickname that we're going to give her. Darling Nikki, Coco, Boney Maroney, Skinny Minnie, the Glamour herself. What up, Queen?
Hey, everybody.
Okay, that didn't really sound good. She didn't clear her
Yes,
throat
it did. And
wait.
I want to say something to everybody that was at the thing yesterday, Sunday.
At what thing?
At the BS3 networking thing.
Okay.
But listen, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting and hanging out with everybody. It was so much fun, and I hope we do it again really soon.
I don't like the way you say it thoroughly. Spell it right quick so we'll know exactly what you're talking about.
You want me to call you that word? I'll call you.
Yeah, go on. Okay. All right. We got the educator Queen back with us now.
Hey, T.
Like she ain't got a wig on straight, but that's all right. And next.
Ignore him.
And boy, I'm in at work 11 hours.
Hey, yeah, let me get your introduction done, and then I need to ask you about that real quick. So next, out of Forney, Texas, by way of East Garland, Texas, the educator Queen. She has recently been victorious over the state of Oklahoma and city of Tulsa about her crown as Queen of Tulsa. There was a little mix up, and I know you've heard of former Miss Americas and nude photos and stuff. Well, don't worry about it anyway. Say what up to the people, Queen.
Are you that?
Boy, I'm about to cut. Ooh,
Mama listening, Mika. Mama listening.
She know she know what I do.
That's where she get it from, man.
Yeah,
so why you didn't get off until 5 o'clock? You're supposed to be a teacher.
No, I didn't leave work till about 5:40.
So they punishing you for
get ready for summer school. Our teachers train on Thursday.
Okay. All right. Because I thought that was the reason you got in teaching, so you can be off at 4 o'clock every day. And you like the chicken fried steaks on Wednesday.
Maybe when I was in the classroom, that was a good answer. But now I work through the summer.
I posted something about Craig the other day. I said the only reason Lakeview graduated Craig is because they was running out of chicken fried steaks for the other students. He was going to get 2 and 3 of them.
You leave Craig alone.
And last but not least, we got the baby Queen out of Forney, Texas, formerly known as Blake's mama. She is now New York Reds mama, also known as Bronx. He is. Is mom over there? Anybody over there who's watching Bronx right now? She over there? Okay, good. So she ain't got to step away. Then Bronx is under the weather a little bit. So thoughts and prayers that direction.
Yes.
He real light skinned. So when he's in the sun for a long time, sometimes it's translucency. What up, Queen? Say hi to the peoples.
Let me get my thoughts together. Because I really want to cuss you.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop talking about my baby. He is just light-skinned. Okay?
Hello,
everyone else.
He called him translucent the other day.
And that's not okay. That's not okay.
When is translucent been bad?
Really bad on my
that's
end.
that's just another way of saying he's vulnerable.
Really?
Yeah.
Ted, can I tell you? Can I tell you what Alicia did Blake wrong today? And
how so?
No.
She called me. I called to check when I had a break just to see how they were doing, what they were doing over there. And Blake asked for a large fry at McDonald's.
But he's sick. Okay, go ahead.
Alicia said, "No, you can. No, you cannot have a large fry.
Don't do that.
Thank you.
That is. See, Mama denied me getting a double country fried steak meal at Grandy's when I was about 9 or 10. And that led to stealing honey buns, eating chicken wings at strip clubs.
At the strip club.
Oh, they got
and when Alicia said no, he said, "But TT will let me do it."
Yeah, you
and he would.
That scars a kid, and you just don't.
And I told him that's between you and your TT. You got a medium. That is, I usually get small, so I met you in the middle. You better go.
Don't be doing chunking up like that.
Don't call us crying. What is it? 2022 and 2027. When Brooks just got his ass in the back room over there because he done stole honey buns.
Don't say that, Ted.
No,
I'm going to
Don't try to place your story on my baby. That's your testimony. God done brought you over.
And for our viewers, we have several in the chat room already. Reminder, if you're watching on Facebook, please give Restream permission to show your name and profile picture so we can attribute the comments to you. And so last but not least, we have a special guest here, Mr. Gary Freeman. He is the future author of the Freelosophy. That's one of the coolest things about Brother Freeman to me is that he's got these little sayings, right, that should be common sense to folks, but as he'll tell you, common sense ain't so common. Right. And I have been encouraged. What number are we up to right now, Brother Freeman?
I think we're up to about 175.
Yeah, and this is real. This ain't no joke. This is for real deal. Okay, so he gives his philosophies again, play on his last name. Gary and I went to church together for several years. We served in the same ministry. And I told him on Facebook on a couple of little posts and stuff, I'm like, I didn't know you was this funny. You know, you wasn't funny at church. You know, you were just quiet. So, Gary, go ahead and tell the folks what they need to know, my man.
I'm glad that you guys or ladies and gentlemen invited me on. Again, my name is Gary Freeman. I am, I guess I could say I'm an aspiring author. But no credentials to my name really when it comes to that. I'm a native of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I actually grew up in Kemp, which is about 30 minutes southeast of Dallas, and but family was kind of in and out of the city, so kind of a little bit of everything. Right now, I live in Allen, so not too far from you right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, hey neighbor.
Or actually, I'm sorry, I live in Lucas now. Not
okay, yeah, right next to Allen.
I know what that is.
Okay.
So I, been watching you all for a while now, and there are certain topics that come up that I'm like, man, I really want to chime in on this, and just been kind of conflict of schedule here and there, and this is the first opportunity that I've had to come on. So first time actually ever even being on a podcast. So I'm a virgin to the world. Y'all be gentle with me.
That's the only way. That's the only way you're a virgin. So tell about you. Now he has a beautiful wife and family. So tell a little bit about your family makeup, brother.
Yeah. So I'm happily married.
Ooh, I'm
gonna tell you.
He kind of stumbled over that.
I'm gonna tell you why I studied on that here in a minute, but. Been married for now. It'll be 14 years in July. We have five kids. 5 kids. It's a mixed family or blended family.
Yeah.
And I actually have 3 grandchildren. I have a son who's getting married this Friday.
Yeah.
So the family is continuing to grow. So But the reason that I say, when I hesitate and I say happily married is an older guy told me once. I was at the barbershop. And he told me,
get some good advice out the barbershop, man.
He told me, he said, somebody asked him, he said, how long? They asked him, how long you been married? He said, I've been married for 45 years, whatever. Then I think it was something like 45 years. Mm-hmm. And they said, wow, man, happily married 45 years. He said, I didn't say happily. He said, I've been married before. He was like, man, you're going to go through all kinds of ups and downs before you get through this. He was like, it ain't always happy, but I've been married and I love my wife. So that's what I can say. I've been married and I love my wife. So
I love it.
It's always a work in progress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. And like I said, you get some good wisdom out the barbershop, and I appreciate the realism. You know, they don't try to sell you no bill of goods, if you know what I mean. You know, they tell you like it is, man. So I appreciate that for certain. In fact, one of my buddies, I mentioned Craig earlier, he said one of the best pieces of advice he got from the barbershop was an old cat. You know, he asked him, he goes, man, how you been married for 50 years? He goes, let me tell you something, man. He goes, the key to marriage is learning how to be quiet when you want to talk.
Mm-hmm. You know, that right there.
He goes, hey, sometimes you got to shut up. You know, as hard as that may be, you know, you got to be quiet. So we can definitely respect that, to say the least. So today's topic is independence mentality. Independence mentality. We got the baby queen has experiencing some difficulty. Let's cover some of the comments here. And we got A-Trap in the building with the End of the Bench podcast. Says, good evening, family. What's up, A-Trap?
Hey, A-Trap.
We got the ever loyal CJ Boyd in the building, one of the hosts of Elevate on Thursdays at 7 p.m.
Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah. When the fight coming up, CJ, so we can know. Because I'm telling you, if you get knocked out, you ain't coming back on BS3.
Y'all please remind me.
Yeah, we gotta know. We got somebody on Facebook saying good evening. Don't know who that is. You gotta get Facebook
good evening.
permission. Hold on. We got Ben Sutter the third. He put the BS in BS3 radio.
Hey, Mr. Ben.
And then we got somebody that must be on because of Gary. They're talking about what's up, little Gary. I need to know exactly who that is. And Ben said, what's up, bro, Freeman? We got Kim Hargrove in the house. Say hello, panel. How are you doing tonight? Hey, Kim. We are fantastic. Then Facebook user again says, my husband needs to watch this. Where's Corey?
Brandy.
Okay, so that must be Brandy. See, that's the problem. That's what me and my son be trying to get you to listen about. See, we said how many times we got to give Facebook permission to use you don't follow instructions well. That's why
don't do her.
That's what Corey be calling me. Says, Daddy, she don't follow instructions well.
Don't do her
trying to work with you on getting you to follow instructions.
We got you, Brandy.
Call me Corey.
All right, we got Raider Kev in the building. What up, Raider Kev? All right, so we're gonna get into this topic again. The topic is independence mentality, and to kind of set the scene, I'm gonna play the video that Gary sent me. That spark. As soon as I saw it, I said, "Shit, we doing a show on this because it comes up too often." So here is that video, and we'll discuss afterwards.
Is so separate. Why do we have to separate ourselves so much from each other? Why is black women one separate entity and black men are another separate entity? That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how any other race operates, but we're the only ones who operate like that and think it's functional. You feel me? I've said it before. Why do we get the label of strong, independent black woman? We don't hear that from nobody else. I've never heard strong, independent white woman, strong, independent Asian woman, strong, independent Latino woman, strong, independent Indian woman. I ain't never heard none of that. But we pride ourselves to being strong, independent black women, as if independence is something that we should strive for as a people. Independence is death. Everybody needs somebody. And the reason why we're struggling in our households and our communities is because we think that there's something good about being independent. Black women need black men, and black men need black women.
I almost shouted.
I'm just going to say this. Every time I play that video, I react the same way, man. She is throwing some power punches there. Whether you agree with them or whether you don't, it's gonna make you say "ouch." So, Brother Freeman, why'd you send that to me?
Well, it was kind of a continuation on from the from one of your other podcasts when it was that was entitled something like why do people say I don't need a man, or why do women say I don't need a man? This is kind of
I don't need no man. Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of in that same family of issues that I really feel like we deal with on a pretty consistent basis. And we've kind of in our genre, us mid to late 40s, early 50s, we grew up in a kind of in a society that that treasured independence. Us Gen Xers, that's what we were taught, was to be independent. But we didn't. I think we kind of fell flat on what the goal of independence was. You like the video said, you do need people. You just don't want to be you don't want to be relying on people, but you do need people to complement who you are and who you are meant to be. Right. And for whatever reason, we just took part of the saying "be independent," and we have we've kind of just run with it. With I don't need anybody, I can do this all by myself. When in actuality, we struggle to do that, and to no end, like no other people, especially here in the U.S. We really struggle to no end, and it's something that we really just have to get over.
Right. Well said. Well, we're going to chop it up with a couple of questions. Don't have Lily back just yet, so hopefully her technical difficulties will end. But let me start with the seasoned queen there with this first question on this particular topic. So again, the topic is independence mentality. So Nikki, why do we feel the need to separate ourselves from each other, Black men and Black women?
I think from a woman's standpoint, I think that a lot of times it's how we grew up in our households. And when I say that, I mean, like, for instance, if some people didn't even have a mom and a dad in the same household, and a mom pulled that weight and did what it was she had to do. She took care of business, no matter what it was. So, but nowadays, people feel like they can do it all on their own. But really and truly, it's tough to do things on your own. And as a Black man, as a Black woman, we like you said earlier, we all need somebody. We have to have each other. We need each other. So that's my feeling on it.
Okay, Mika, what you got?
Love the video, and I'm speaking honestly. My daddy and I had this conversation about, I think 2 months ago. I got mad at him because he said, you know how I be saying that.
Because he told her the truth, probably.
No, not because he told me the truth, because he said, because I hadn't heard from him, and I'm spoiled. I get it. I hadn't heard from him in 2 days.
Wow.
Oh, that's a long time, girl.
I said, Dad, why?
How did you make it? Yeah. Were you on life support by the time he got?
I said, Daddy, why you ain't call me in 2 days? He said, because you're strong. I don't feel like I got to call you every day. And so I fell off. And I told him right then, don't let that fool you. Stop saying, I said, Black women have to be strong.
Yeah.
So he was like, what do you mean? And he had never had this conversation. He was like, what do you mean? I said that I'm a single woman in my own home, doing my own thing. I said, I do this because I have to, not because I want to. I said, and as soon as somebody come and say they'll take out the trash and pay a bill, they in this.
He gonna be yours.
Oh, wow, that's it. He ain't got to have all his teeth or nothing.
He could be missing one.
One.
Then that mean his breath gonna be funky because that air be getting in there.
So no, but we had a conversation about checking on your strong friends, checking on your, especially your strong Black female friends, because they're gonna be the last people to ask for help and all that stuff. So I think I think it's like that in our society because we're scared to ask for help. And what we've seen as we've grown up, that you're supposed to be independent. And then what, our grandmothers and great grandmothers instilled in us, you're independent when you don't need a man. So
yeah. And just for those who, so she's talking about her dad, which happens to be Nicole and our stepdad, right? Which I hesitate to use that term, right? Because a lot of good dudes out there who stepped in that role. So when I say stepdad, I'm like, he stepped up and he stepped in, right? So it is not a derogatory term in my estimation whatsoever, right? And this dude is a deep thinker, right? And when you see King Doc, when you hear King Doc speak, it is because of him that I have the vocabulary that I have. It is because of him that I speak I think before I speak. You can't tell sometimes because I act a fool, but when I turn into serious mode, it is because of him, right? So he's a deep thinker. So for that to be put on his mind, he probably thought about it the next 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
He's probably still thinking about it.
I almost made him cry, I'm sure.
All right. So, Brother Freeman, why do we feel the need to separate ourselves from each other?
I think initially it was out of necessity. When it was like, when you take, say for instance, a single mother that had to raise her kids by herself. And so it was okay, I have to do this. So this is what I'm going to show. This is what I'm going to instill in my children. Hey, you may be in this situation. And what we turned into, hey, you may be in this situation, so you need to be strong. You need to be able to do these things on your own. We turned that into be strong, do these things on your own, not only if it's a necessity. So I think that that's where we kind of got off track, and it's just going to take us kind of. And I think us as Black people, we have there are a lot of issues where we take a idea or we take a concept and we kind of almost pervert it. We almost kind of misuse it to the point where it's no good to us. Remember what I said in my email to you in saying that sometimes we things that are meant for good, we just turn them and we flip them upside down, and we don't use them correctly, and we abuse the topic or we abuse the idea. Right. And I think this is one of those things. Being independent has become an issue of that is hurting us more than it's helping us.
Okay, so I'm going to get these comments, and then you sparked the question, which is why I had to write some notes real quick. You talked about getting it back on track or whatever. So I'm going to ask you the question, are we able to reverse this trend? If so, how? And Mika, if he sparked something different in you, I want you to write it down or whatever, and so you can follow up with that as well. So we're going to ask him that, and then I'm going to let you ask him that. But let's catch up on some of these chats. First, CJ told us where he's going to win his fight. He says, LMAO, it's going to be live streamed in Houston. Y'all wish me well. My first time going to heavyweight, 201 plus pound. If I get knocked out, y'all still got me, right? No, I done told you that. No, we don't. You're going to have to go to End of the Bench podcast. They used to get knocked out over there.
We're going to be praying for you.
With A-Trap. And then he says, only a Black woman can understand the Black man's struggle. Simple. Okay. Kim Hargrove says, the powers that be didn't take the men out of the home. They told Black women the only way we're going to help you is if you put that man out of the house. They took away the village, and that's part of the reason these children are running amok. And that's you want to talk about a point when it came to the welfare system and whatnot, and the breaking down of the Black family, because again, in my estimation, the powers that be knew the strength of our community was in the strength of our family. And so how do we break that strength up? We can't give you no help, but you got a man in there. Well, guess what? Sometimes even with 2 incomes, it was still difficult to make ends meet. Right. So it was a lot of situations to where they probably started out, look, we just going to run game on this system. You out, let's say you out or let's whatever, right? And they start playing that game, and it ended up not being a game and becoming reality, to where the men, the fathers were not in the house, because what do I value most? A constant, consistent paycheck from the government, or a sometimes I'm gonna get paid, sometimes I got work, sometimes I don't, so and again, there's a whole bunch of opinions on how that came about and what we think about it. But trust me, the government and the welfare system did contribute to this phenomenon. Another contribution was, like somebody's mentioned earlier, moms and grandmas, because they was in situations to where, they felt like they were dependent on people, and they didn't like that feeling, right?
That's right.
And so they were saying, you got to be strong. You got to figure it out yourself. You got to, don't count on no man, don't, et cetera, et cetera. They were having to say this because they were speaking their truth. You follow me? So they start feeling a certain way, and they start speaking it to their daughters and granddaughters who were around them.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, that was Kim's comment. CJ says, I truly feel like we're still suffering from the Willie Lynch theory. You better believe it. They separated the black man from the black woman to emasculate him, and they just trickled down from there, literally separated us, and we're still going through it today. Theodora Hop in the building. H-Rap Ken Folk in the building. We appreciate you, Theodora. And I said, anytime you see an old name on here, you can just believe it's going to be some H-Raps Ken Folk.
Don't do that.
B.S. Sutter is referring to Mika's comment about her dad and not calling her in 2 days. He's talking about 2 days. Exactly. And CJ also said, that's all it takes, Mika? Damn. Yep. That's it.
And a little Jesus. CJ got to have a little Jesus.
Yeah. And she was probably out of that box wine she drank. That was probably more about it.
Now, I don't drink no box wine now. Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then Rady Kell said, Mika, people confuse what women have to do with what women want to do. Great point,
That's right.
And then we got Facebook user again. It's probably my daughter-in-law. She goes, Mika, I understand exactly what you're saying. I've always said, check on us seemingly strong people. We need that too. I don't want to always be strong.
Yep.
And that's the key. When she says, I don't want to always be strong, I get females telling me that all the time. They tired of being strong. They are glad that they get to turn off when I'm around. I can turn off when you're around. I don't have to be on point because I know you got it.
Thank you. It's not a compliment.
It's not a compliment.
Yeah. Talk about it, Lily. You've been off for a minute, so expound on that. That strength is not a compliment. Tell us some more about what you think.
First of all, the devil is busy because I already knew what I was going to say. So the devil tried to take me out.
Don't let him do it.
Yeah, girl, you better rebuke him.
He didn't win.
Yeah.
But I think that I've even said it on this podcast before, where I read like a meme that said it perfectly about we're always calling women strong, and we're always looked to be strong and to carry the load. And she got it. She's strong. Look, she went to college. She got her own place. She got a house. She ain't got no problems. That means nothing. So, and people use that all the time. Oh, you're strong. I don't really have to check in with you. Or they use you as the dumping board, right? So they don't see you show emotion much, but they'll come and dump on you. Meanwhile, you're trying to process what you have to process within yourself, but you're taking on the emotional baggage of others.
Right on. All right. Raider Kev says, hey, wait a minute. How are we getting into this? He talking about the End of the Bench podcast when I told CJ to join in. All right. And we have, let's see, Yvette. Vet Green. Vet Green. Think and Grow with Vet Green. I don't know. The only person I know named Vet is with the dude we grew up with. Everett. We call him Vet.
Everett,
Educator got you together.
Hey, she should have been teaching KDM sight words. She was frustrated. That was a perfect example of how educators get frustrated when I just taught you this shit, and now we go program and your ass ain't got it.
Talking to the baby
Mika,
like that.
Look here, Mika was frustrated as hell, boy. All right, so before I got in these comments, I told Gary Freeman, I said, look, I said, you sparked something. So he talked about getting back on track. And so I immediately said, okay, you sure about that? Are we able to reverse this trend? And if so, how?
Yeah, one of the things, first of all, I don't want to make this seem like this is a woman's only issue.
Right on.
Because this is on both sides. Because like I said, where we had Mima and Mama, telling the girls, you don't need that.
Yeah.
We had, Snoop and Tupac telling us, we don't love them hoes.
Yeah.
We had the same thing. It was just somebody else giving it to us.
Yeah.
And so, we grew up kind of distancing ourselves from them. They grew up distancing themselves from us. And so now we're trying to figure out how we're going to operate in this gap. And I think it just really is going to go back to just
in this gap. That's a big word. It's 3 letters, but that's a big word. When you say operating in that gap, man, that's huge. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think it's just going to go back to the narratives that we start selling our children
and grandchildren.
That's
what's up, man.
That hey, because that's where we learned it.
Right.
And we learned it at home. That's where it started. But then we let the idiots kind of take control, and now it's being spewed over all kinds of radio waves, whether it be on the radio, TV, or on the internet or whatever. We've just got to recapture that and actually put the microphones into the faces of the people like you all that are going to be focused on giving a message that people can digest and grow from. We're just. But again, I think it's just a matter of just starting to just say it. That hey, yes, you need each other. You need that woman in your life to balance, to be your yin to her yang or whatever, to balance that. You need her. You need her to help develop as a man. You need her to help develop your soft side.
You better
to be a woman. You need him to change the light bulb. To call when your battery dead. You need him for that. It's some things that women just don't want to do or not acclimated to do, have no interest in doing, and the same thing with men. Yeah. And so I think we just have to get that understanding that, hey, we need each other. And then once you start seeing that, then you'll start seeing some stuff like homosexuality die down. You'll start seeing that. You'll start to see that people say, okay, well, yeah, I get it, because I can guarantee you the root cause of some of that type of stuff is if you tell a little girl all this time that you don't need a woman, you don't need a man, then eventually she'll feel like, oh, I can get that. I
need somebody. Yeah.
And vice versa when it comes to a man. But I just think it's just carrying on the conversations with your children, with your grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whoever.
Right. So Gary basically put it in a very astute way, and he trying to be polite because this is his first time on. So he trying not to, step on nobody's toes. So let me go on and say it the way he want to say it. First, I'm going to say, when he talk about the soft side, I'm just going to put a term out there, feminine energy. Okay. And a lot of folks are scared. A lot of brothers, men are scared of that. Do not be afraid of the feminine energy. You got to be in touch with that, right? When he says
they equate that to gay.
You got to have it, right? And I'm telling you right now, I'm in touch with my feminine energy and I'm in touch with theirs. See, if you get in touch with your feminine energy, you can get in touch with theirs. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to teach you if you listen.
Don't be mannish now. Don't
Thank you. Don't be mannish about it.
Hey, some people, that's what's going to motivate them, right? So Brother Freeman said what I consider to be a hard truth, right? He said, that's where we learned it. And I knew some folks make their skin crawl, man. You hurting some folks' feelings when you say that's where we learned it, but that is the truth. And we got to start being willing to deal with hard truths. That's where we learned it at home, and that's where we need to fix the shit. Simple as that.
But I don't think a lot of homes are ready to have that critical conversation, because if we can talk all day long, like Gary said.
Very true.
And when they get to our schools, when they get in front of our teachers and all that stuff, I can't correct 10 years of ignorance that's been instilled from home. So it starts at home. So if we did it at home, then we have something else going on. But very, 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 very true.
Yeah. And before I go,
another piece of that is when I just think about it because we see it every year, right? When mothers are celebrating Father's Day.
Yeah, man. Okay.
And that when I tell you that irks my spirit, I can't stand that. And it's always the conversation of, well, he ain't needed a man this long. Every child needs a man. You need that man.
Yes.
So that you got to dead that conversation.
Yeah. You're not the mother and the father now.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Now, Mika, before I go to station identification and then we'll get into the streets of talking and some other things, do you remember what Gary sparked in you? You got that wrote down?
When he was talking about how do you correct it, but my question was, it automatically, because being in the dating world, Gary, how do you correct that in a relationship?
Nothing about that. Go ahead.
But
Gary, she can get help.
Go on. Go on.
You see how the Lord keep bridling my tongue?
Look here, but the fixer says she'll close her eyes sometimes, like she's searching for something here.
Because he knows my heart.
Searching for something other than a cuss word.
That's what I'm looking for. But how do you correct that in a relationship? Because we have all this strong energy when we go into relationships, especially as a female, because I'm independent.
Right.
I don't need to. I don't want to be vulnerable.
INDEPEND. Right. Yeah.
You know
what that spells?
One of the words that's been tossed around a lot when it comes to Black relationships, and I think it's very important that we all kind of understand it, is sometimes it's got to be counseled out of you. We always think about counseling because somebody cheated or because somebody was on drugs or whatever, but some of our habits, some of the things that we were brought up understanding and learning, we've got to get counseled out of those too. We got to get coached out of those too. Wow, and sometimes it's not, you can't hear that from a friend. It won't come from a friend in the same way, especially if that friend has the same background that you have. Y'all came from the same neighborhood, all of y'all thinking the same way. So that friend is going to have the same information that you have. You got to have an outside source that comes in and tell you, hey, girl, you dead wrong. Say, nigga, you out of line.
He promised before the show. I'm going to say, nigga. He promised.
That's all right.
It just flowed natural for me. My bad. But sometimes you just have to have a third party that comes in and says, this is what you need to do to fix it. And knowing and listening to somebody tell you may be something that it's part of a discovery in you that you didn't know or you don't understand where it came from, but understanding, hey, this is what the problem is. This is what these are some steps that you can take. And I can't give you those steps because I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying a person in general. Yeah. I can't give a person those steps because I don't necessarily know what those steps are. But I think that if you just discover it and then you're able to just say, hey, these are some steps that you can put forth to try to fix it. Yeah. That becomes where, two adults that are already in a relationship can move forward.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And it's hard to unlearn something that's been instilled.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. And look, dude, CJ, I know you have said in the past that you lean on Justin and myself and A-Trap and Ben, because you're a young father and you're trying to find your way and stuff like that. I'm telling you right now, you and Justin need to be reaching out to Gary Freeman and saying, hey, you need to get on Elevate, so he can drop some knowledge. See, I knew about 15 minutes in, I'm like, this is going to be a quick hour because there's too much power being spewed here. There's too many nuggets being spewed here. So I'm like, this hour going to go quick. And speaking of CJ, he says, we as Black men got to stand up for our Black queens. We got to appreciate, honor, and love our Black. Communication would go a long way. And that comment I put up that said, Gary, you better talk about it. That was about 2 other comments ago. I just didn't get to it. And it applied to that comment. All right. Theodora Harper agrees. She goes, that's huge. Same thing. Think and grow with Vet Green. I want to call her Vet so bad.
I don't know.
She goes, I know that's right. Theodora again said, come on now. So again, they agree with exactly what Freeman is talking about. And Facebook said, don't be flipping Gary's. Well, I know we got some hood jokers out there that need to get it raw. Let's see. And CJ said, our dog, they don't know is if you getting in touch with your feminine energy, you can get in touch with theirs if you catch my drift. Right on. What I try to tell him. Ben said, we tell ourselves lies,
Oh
but they
my
don't age well.
God.
Hey, that's a strong comment right there.
I like that.
Ain't that Freeman? He goes, we tell ourselves lies, but they don't age
They
well.
don't age well.
That's
So they come back to
strong,
bite
man.
you.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, that'll preach, man. Got on house, got on car. Oh, he was telling that little Boosie something.
Yeah.
Look at her. Wow, CJ Boy said Pastor Freeman, a real nigga, high key.
Not low key.
High key, okay?
Let's see.
Oh,
And
Facebook
Facebook user said,
Hey, not that
Keisha.
he called me pastor.
Pastor,
and
right?
in the same
That's right. In the same
sentence.
sentence. In the same sentence. So now it is time for station identification.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
And it's also time for our segment.
The streets are talking.
Y'all notice Mika don't even try to dance on the streets of talking no more because she be tired.
She's been at work
quick.
too long today.
All right. So again, the streets are talking. So Lily again had her hands full today with the little one. So I had something that just naturally came up. So I'm like, when they were trying to figure out what we was gonna do, I said, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. I got it. The Monique is back in the news.
What did she do?
She is acting a fool again.
Why? Hurry up.
Yeah. She acting a fool. And I'm not her dear Hughley. They were in Detroit at the famed Fox Theater. Supposed to be on this program together, on this show together, right? Mika said, tired of her. Supposed to be on this show together. And she said her contract said she was the headliner. He supplies her a letter that says, where he was talking back and forth or whatever, said, I'll do it if I'm the headliner. And so, of course, they got to the night of the show, and she claims that DL said, I ain't going out there. If she don't go last, if she go last, I ain't going on the show. I ain't going out there if I'm not the headliner. Now, in comedy, you typically have an opener, a feature who comes on next, and then a headliner.
Yes.
Now, like I heard them talking about this on K104 this morning, and they said two big names like that. She was on Queens of Comedy. He was on Kings of Comedy. Two big names like that, you really shouldn't have a problem when another big name happens to be your headliner. It ain't like they having.
Who cares?
You know what I'm saying? They ain't got somebody from Wild and Out headliners. It's DL Hughley. You know what I'm saying? A dude who's on the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
She clowned him and said, nigga, here you go, Freeman. She said, nigga, you opened the Kings of Comedy. I closed the Queens of Comedy.
Uh-oh.
I'm the headliner.
Queen Tony wasn't even that funny. But go ahead.
Wasn't.
It wasn't.
Now he clapped
They
back.
left it to the Kings.
He clapped back, but we're not gonna get into his clap. I just want to get into y'all thoughts on Monique. I'm gonna tell about his clap back. He said, you done got into it with Netflix. You done got into it with Tyler. You done got into it with Lee. You done got into it with Oprah. I'm starting to think it ain't them.
Oh, yeah, Charlemagne too.
It ain't them. You the constant in this thing.
Yeah.
And K104 happened to agree with him and said, okay, now I'm starting to think this
It's
you,
you, sis.
All right, so what y'all think about this situation, if y'all have heard about it?
It is her. I agree 100%. You have a problem with everybody.
Yeah, and she gonna mess around and get blackballed
again. As long as
again.
they cutting the check, what does it matter?
Right.
If you getting paid and I'm getting paid, why does it matter?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. She creates this whole thing when she's trying to amp people up to get on Team Monique. If you know 50 Cent is actually putting her on the show. So I think she's starting to smell herself a little bit. Like I'm getting back out there.
Mama used to say.
She's smelling herself.
Yeah.
And she want to get back out there. But he even said it. I was listening to his show this afternoon. he even said, I named about 5 people on my clapback. He said, I'm not going to even tell y'all the amount of phone calls I got behind the scenes of people saying she did the same thing to them.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So she's the problem.
Yeah, I think she's out of line. I think he's definitely the bigger name. It really goes to who's the bigger name
That's right.
is going to be featured as the headliner.
That's right.
And he's clearly the bigger name. She hasn't really worked a lot in probably what,
We ain't
5-6
seen her
years?
since 2010.
Yeah, so 12
Precious.
years. So,
Precious. Yeah.
So it should have been a situation where she was grateful to be on a show with somebody that is
that's true.
such a big star.
Yeah.
So
And I had a video. Unfortunately, this topic is too juicy for us, independence mentality, and I don't want to take up time by playing the YouTube. I did download a YouTube video of the opening 10 minutes that she had talking about it, because she took it on stage.
Yes.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Oh,
that.
she took it on stage talking about it in front of her first 10 minutes of the show.
What?
Oh, and I'm gonna tell you one of the things she said. She goes, "Yeah, this nigga named D.L. Hughley. I wonder what the DL stand for."
Yep.
You own the DL.
Wow.
And saying
Now,
something
she
to
had a
the
line.
effect, and again, I may have this aspect wrong, so let me just preface it by saying that. But she said something to the effect that I've been on his show before, and they asked me a question: would you rather your husband get let me just use this clean term, say sodomized by Lee Daniels with a condom, or such and such without one, or something like that? So she was like, "You putting this out here like this in front of your audience? You gonna say stuff like, So she calling them, and when I say the word coon in a 10-minute span was probably used about 25 times, talking about DL and again, I thought she was supposed to be all right with Oprah now. She's referring to Oprah now, Lee now, Tyler now. She calling them coons in this.
She just cried on stage with Lee Daniels 2 weeks ago. I can't.
Well, she calling them
and I hope she has plenty of money in the bank, because
that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm gonna say, if you hadn't seen this YouTube video, look it up after the show. Matter of fact, don't look it up after the show. Look it up after Marriage is Real, because they coming on after us, and I got to remember to keep saying that. Jamie Johnson, Damian Johnson, Marriage is Real on BS3 Network every Tuesday after Queen3 King at 8:30. So check them out. But yeah, y'all got Monique done went off again, y'all.
Bye, Monique.
He said Precious was her autobiography.
It sure was.
Yeah, that's right. He sure did.
You're right about it.
Wow.
You're gonna be sitting on the chair, smoking them cigarettes again.
All day. She got plenty of money in the bank. Sit down.
Yeah.
Please have several.
So we're going to go to Sybil and find what we need to know. And when we get back from that, we will chop up with a couple of more angles to this particular subject. But right now, Sybil, what do we need to know, sweetheart?
Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. Number 1. During the Sunday afternoon visit to Uvalde, Texas, President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden met with families of victims, visited the memorial, attended a church mass, and spoke with first responders. During the presidential trip, the Department of Justice was issuing a statement about an incident review of law enforcement procedures that were undertaken at the Robb Elementary School 1 week ago. The goal of the review, which the mayor requested, is to provide an independent account of law enforcement actions and response that day, and to identify lessons learned and best practices to help first responders prepare for and respond to active shooter events. Number 2, the White House says no decision has been made on the issue of student loan forgiveness. As a part of the CARES Act, payments on most federal student loans were paused and interest was set to 0. Collection efforts against defaulted federal student loan borrowers were also suspended. For over the last 2 years, the Department of Education has extended the loan payment pauses. The latest pause is now in effect through August 31st. Discussions within the Biden administration continue about loan forgiveness. Number 3, the coronavirus mutant that is now dominant in the United States is a member of the Omicron family, but scientists say it spreads faster than its Omicron predecessors and might possibly cause more serious disease. It combines properties of both Omicron and Delta, the nation's dominant variant in the middle of last year. Experts say a genetic trait that harkens back to the pandemic's past, known as Delta mutation, appears to allow the virus to escape pre-existing immunity from vaccination and prior infection. Number 4. As parents across the United States struggle to find formula to feed their children, the pain is particularly acute among Black and Hispanic women. Black women have historically faced obstacles to breastfeeding, including a lack of lactation support in the hospital, more pressure to formula feed, and cultural roadblocks. Experts fear small neighborhood grocery stores that serve these vulnerable populations are not replenishing as much as larger retail stores, leaving some of these families without the resources or means to hunt for formula. Number 5, believe it or not everything is taxed. Municipal bond interest, most health insurance premiums, and contributions to health savings accounts are few of those items. Read more about it in today's newsletter brought to you by Texas CPA Katrina M. Kraft. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Don't try to make others be who you think they should be. Okay, so he's not Idris. Join me today, live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, with comedian Damon Williams, contributor Cameron Riley, and the real CBD lady, Tay, as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the American Heart Association. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
Thank you, Sybil. Boy, one week we're gonna need to do a show just on Sybil, things you need to know, because every time she come up with a topic, I'd be like, shoot, I want to talk about that.
I got something to say about that Uvalde shooting and
and them look here, the report of 19 officers standing out in the hallway talking about it. Let me just be quiet.
I'm still pissed.
Let's see. Theodore Barter, she's talking about Monique. She's really showing out. She says, "Me too, Mika. I'm so tired." Let's see. The king and queen is equally matched. It's a bit petty on both sides. All right. CJ says, "Bro, Monique was just doing right. I've been supportive of her, but she rubbing me the wrong way now." Let's see. Theodora says, hold it up higher, Mika, that sign. Monique needs to get laid. That's probably Keisha. You know who Keisha is.
That's Keisha.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
And CJ said, I ain't gonna cap. She lost that damn weight. And she been feeling herself ever since. Ben said, killers moving silent. She loud as hell always. Hers, Monique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
And my thing is, even if it was an issue, be quiet and discuss that behind the scenes.
That's
Everybody don't need to know.
That's right. Right. Theodore said she thinks she's better than she is. Oh, yeah, she was wrong. And then she also said, yes, she was a disgrace to everyone. And then she says, yes, she is awesome. Sybil. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
Sybil.
All right. All right. So let's dig back into this topic. But first, our final station identification.
BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV.
All right. So again, we're talking about independence mentality. To reset, again, we got special guest host Gary Freeman, who has been dropping some knowledge on you jokers today. All right, which I knew it. Stay tuned, because hopefully we'll be announcing the release of his book called The Philosophy. Because this need to be out there. You understand? So the nuggets just like that, he gonna put out there. Okay, so let's see how I want to put this on. So Lily had talked earlier about this is not a compliment. So that kind of addressed one of the things one of the questions that I was going to ask: is this a badge of honor or a trick? You know, is independence something we should strive for as people? So I think we got that. So Let me ask you this. She made a comment in that first video we showed. She goes, independence is death. I want to start with you, Gary, on this one. Talk to me a little bit about that. When she made that comment, she goes, independence is death. And that was one of the heavy hitters for me. Expound on that a little bit.
Well, I think I can look at this from a standpoint of financial status.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
One of the reasons that we are so far behind when it comes to income or wealth and wealth building, from the 1960s, it was something like 2.3%. And now it's about 1.3% of the U.S. Of the wealth in the U.S. So it's declined over the last, 50 years. So, and the reason being is because we're now basically raising two separate households. We're paying mortgages in two separate places. We're paying rent in two separate places. If it was two people paying rent in one place, then that's $1,300 that could go to wealth building. So I think so when you talk about being independent, eventually the money is going to dry up. It's the same way that money multiplies and it grows exponentially, it actually decreases exponentially as well. And I think that we could independence ourselves into extinction because of that. Mm. And that's just financially, like I said, we mentioned all the other stuff, just knowing that we need each other for mental and physical stability. We need that. And if we don't have that, then, we become the weak link, and the weak link always dies.
That's a great point.
Do any of y'all, Mika, Nikki, Lily, do y'all have anything to add to that?
No, I think that was a perfect example.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and I'm gonna start with you on this, Lily. Was she right or was she wrong when she says, we don't hear this from any other culture? Are there another race of people that pushes the separation agenda? Was she right about that or was she wrong?
She was so right about that, because we don't hear it. We don't hear, oh, she is such a strong white woman. Mm-hmm. We don't hear that. And then I didn't even think about that until she really said that. We don't hear that. So it's so true that we don't hear it coming from any other ethnicity besides strong Black women. And that's what really led me to say that's not a compliment. So,
okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I think we would all agree that this is a dysfunctional position, right? In terms of, I don't need anyone. So let me ask you this. Does anyone disagree with the statement that everyone needs someone?
Absolutely not.
No.
Don't disagree at all.
And I think with that statement, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's it.
I think with that statement that Alicia just said, and maybe I'm wrong, y'all correct me, marriage is not the pinnacle of success or whatever in our Black community. Mm-hmm. Other communities, I'm talking about white, Asians, they're raised, go to college, get married, then, find your career or whatever the case may be. Like, marriage is it. Y'all build something, y'all get, have wealth, get your 403B or 401k, whatever it may be, get your IRA, and then y'all go from there. Start young. So I think as in our community, it's not instilled in us like it is in their communities. And that's why you don't hear a strong white woman, because she doesn't have to be. She has a husband. And if she doesn't have a husband, she's married within a couple years. Mm-hmm. You see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. So this question to the panel, anybody can jump in if you have something on this. Is the narrative of independence and the desire for independence that it has created the reason why we are struggling within our communities?
Yes, because we're always against each other. It's a lot of times, and we even talk about it just being not even men and women, but females. Like, it's a lot of times we don't even pay each other a compliment because we want to be doing better than her.
Right.
And it's so crazy to me. And I always say, even like, it's been situations where if you support somebody doing the same thing, somebody feels away. It's enough for all of us to eat. We see how many Asian owned beauty supplies or whatever that the case may be.
And if you don't think they're not talking about what's necessary to be successful, you are out your mind. I promise you, they're talking about it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I've even seen my nail tech help somebody else get their stuff together. She trying to help her get on. Make sure you do this. Remember this. This is going to be a costly. We don't have those conversations in our community.
Matter of fact, some cultures actually have a tradition in that culture to where they'll take, and I'm just, again, the specifics, forgive me for that, but they may have 10 families, and their job is to say that all of us are going to put in $1,000 to get them started in their business. And then in 90 days, we're going to do it, and they do it to where everybody gets started with the help of the other ones, right? So that tells you how invested they are in the success of others, right?
Absolutely.
And we can barely get somebody to repost something about our business.
Share something.
You understand what I'm saying? Just get
or like it.
Let alone we ain't gonna even get to patronizing the business or just coming and paying what we charging without trying to get a deal. You know, I'm telling you right now, when I buy something, and there's people who listen on this show, Taylor Treasures, my girl who sells the sea moss, they'll tell you when I buy something from them, I pay them more than they asking me. You know, I always tip them. We tip folks. So I always pay them more than we. Matter of fact, Yana will tell you, just when I bought from Mass Confections, I ordered the lemon bars. Hey, I'm giving you more than you're charging me, you know, because I'm trying to invest in those Black businesses. All right. So before we go to final thoughts, I want to ask one question, and we're going to start this question with Mika. Why can't Miss Independent find Mr. Right? Why can't Miss Independent find Mr. Right?
I'm be dead honest. Because Miss Independent is not having these conversations that we're sitting down to have. She thinks it's a badge. She thinks she's the baddest girl out there because she's so independent, and she doesn't have a circle of friends that says, "Girl, that's not cute." So she can't find Mr. Right because she's trying to be Mr. Right, and she won't put on her feminine energy when she walks in the house with Mr. Right, and he's not gonna have that.
Wow.
Just my opinion.
Nikki, you got anything on that one? Why can't Miss Independent find Mr. Right? You're muted out. I don't know why we can hear you. No, we can't hear you. Gary, while we wait on that, you got anything on what why can't Miss Independent find Mr. Right?
But there's a whole lot of reasons, but I'm gonna put it back. But I'm gonna put it back on us. I'm gonna put it back on the men, and that's because there are so many Mr. Wrongs that there are so many Mr. Wrongs that
put it on the man.
It's harder for her to find Mr.
The devil told me, cut that nigga off right now. Don't even let him on the show. Cut that nigga off. That's what the devil told me.
So there's so many Mr. Wrongs that it's hard for her to find Mr. Right.
And when she get to him, don't know how to act.
Exactly. And she done been through so many jokers by the time she get to him. Yeah.
You ain't lying, Gary.
And again, it goes to also because what she labeled as Mr. Wrong was just Mr. Imperfect.
Wow.
Remember I said that before?
Yeah.
Sometimes you labeled him Mr. Wrong, but he was just Mr. Imperfect.
Right.
He had some issues,
which we all share that
salvageable.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we've fallen short is we're looking for the perfect person, and then we assume that perfect person isn't out there, and some people will either give up or they will then do so-called settle for this what they consider an imperfect person. So I think that's one of the main issues. But we could get into talking about why Mr. Wrong is why he's Mr. Wrong. That could be a whole nother show, and it probably needs to be another show. But that's definitely an issue.
Now we're gonna talk about your availability. We will do that soon. And Theodora Harper, you done almost made us shop 3 different times on this show. She talking about, hey, you right. Let's see. Raider Kev says, We are so messed up when someone comes up with the idea of helping each other in a group. Immediately, people think it's a scheme. 100. We are immune from helping each other. 100. And that's not just outside. We're not just talking about acquaintances. We're not just talking about friends. We're talking about family too. There are some opportunities that get rolled out there that folks think it's a scheme, and it ain't no scheme. You missed your opportunity. You missed your opportunity. This was legit. Shoot. So he is on to something right there.
Gary, I so appreciate you.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah, turn that volume down here. We can hear you too good.
Oh my God.
No, I don't like it like that.
I
need to be heard.
That's what she said. Theodora said, but you ain't perfect, so how do you expect to be perfect? Exactly. So, Nikki, did you have anything to add on that?
That's good.
No, I heard everything that everybody said, and I agreed with it. I'm good.
All right. Well, we're going to start with you on our final thoughts. Go.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Freeman for being our special guest. I enjoyed you thoroughly. And also, I'd like to thank our viewers that come on and support us faithfully every week and participating and all that good stuff. And the last thing that I would like to say is, with regards to this topic, always remember that everybody needs somebody. Just like we talked about, we have to have people around us, because if not, we can go many places just by ourselves. We need somebody. So always remember, I need somebody. And because you may not need somebody, but other people need you. So it's vice versa.
Yeah,
so
that's what's up.
Just be there for everybody if that you can anyway.
That's what's up. All right, Mika, final thoughts.
Again, thank you, brother Freeman. I was gonna put that N-word in there, but Lord, stop. See how I've been doing today? He's good. How about to say you my
nigga. Even if you don't get no bigger.
Even if you don't get no bigger, you my. So
you can say my hitter like the song.
Yeah. Those little nuggets and gems that you gave to us tonight, because even as a even as a person that feels like they have it together, you're like, okay, wait a minute, that makes sense. And thank you for that perspective that you gave to different topics.
A lot of wisdom there, brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm gonna keep it simple. Independence is not a badge. Independence is not anything that we want. It's something we have to do. And once you have somebody or people or a circle or a village in your life, don't be afraid to lay down that independence when it's when you need to. So that's
right
it.
On.
Thanks,
right
audience.
On. All right, Lily, final thoughts.
Thank you, Brother Freeman. We definitely got to have you back to drop some more gems. Like Ted said, it went way too fast. So I think you had a lot more that you needed to pour into this call. So we definitely have to come back and double dip in this one. But I think it sounds super cliche, but we're stronger together. Like we have to definitely get that mentality and know that we're stronger together. And it's like that song, I'm a moving by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. And it's one of those things where we always say, when Black people come together, we can really get stuff done. We can get stuff done. So we really have to stop that mentality of being independent is where it's at. No, we need each other, period.
Y'all see how I had to back up, because them balls that Nikki and Lily got, they strong independent too. That's why I had to back it up.
He's just such a hater.
All up in my face.
And he probably got a dip over there trying to mimic our balls.
I'm almost finished.
And we're gonna do your hair. On
this topic. On this topic, we need to be talking to our kids and our grandkids about this stuff.
Yep, that's what Gary said earlier.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that, because that's our kids. They learn things from their peers and other people, but we need to be the ones that's instilling the good morals and values in them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Theodora says, I really enjoyed this show. Please do another show on this subject with Gary Freeman. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll call it Independence Mentality Part 2. And we will play on the Why Can't Miss Independent Find Mr. Right? So we'll do it just like that.
Perfect. And we're gonna call Gary Quiet Storm because he's
love it.
Coming with the heat.
Baby, Quiet Storm.
All right, Brother Freeman, it's on you. Final thoughts, sir.
I for one, I want to thank you all for having me on. This has been a blast. This has really been fun. I hope that I learned something. I hope that you all learned something from me.
Absolutely.
By no means am I any kind of an expert. It's just I just pay attention to a lot of stuff. And I hope to, I come up with ideas and concepts, and I hope to share them. And I hope somebody comes away with this feeling a little bit better about whatever situation they're in.
Right.
One of the things that I will say is that I kind of think of it as don't need me, nigga, want me. You know what I mean? Don't need me, want me. You know what I mean?
I heard that.
Because needing me, now I got to raise you. I don't want to raise you.
See, that's that part.
I'm trying to end this show. We come together to go further. I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to drag somebody along as a kid. So don't need me, want me, because
that's good.
So let's look at it like that. And if you can look at that person and say, I really want this person, then that'll help overcome a whole lot of issues, and y'all will be able to go a lot further.
Right.
Not
that's
that
true.
he need me or she need me or I need her or he needs me or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe get that put on the shirt. Don't need me, nigga, want me.
That's right, man.
I'm gonna give me a shirt.
Wait, we'll have Yana make us some.
Yeah, she can. Wow, appreciate that. Well, let me just say this. He says, I'm by no means an expert. Well, I always say a man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument. So again, experience is the best teacher. And sometimes I'm willing to bet that a good percentage of what Garrett unlearned in life had to do with his willingness to be open to learn, right? He paid attention. He didn't have a disposition that said, I know it all. Oh, I ain't going to listen to you. I'm willing to bet he remained teachable, right? He had a teachable spirit. So Nikki said she wanted to thank the supporters and thank our viewers. Well, I'm going to take a bit of a different approach because I see this from a spiritual standpoint. And I want to first thank our haters. I want to thank the non-supporters. I want to thank those because, again, I want the Lord to show me you so I can bless you, right? So, again, you can actually boost us. You can give us, you can actually put a little juice in our blessings by hating. So again, hey, the haters are necessary. And if you think you'd see, we talked about cliche and it's popular to say it. Well, guess what? I really mean it. It is the secret to my success. I need haters so I can bless them, because bless those that curse you. And I need you to be shown to me, because again, I need to show the Lord that when you show me my enemies, I'm not going to step on them. See, he'll make your enemies your footstool if he knows you're not going to step on them, right? So I need him to show me, so I can bless those that curse me. So again, thank you to the haters and supporters alike, right? And so for me, don't need me, nigga, want me. Hashtag all 2022. So for me, there's a term that was out there as I was researching this show called hyper individualism, right? And the hyper individualist mindset runs rampant in capitalist nations, right? So it's even bigger than the culture, right? Now, again, they use it as a tool on specific cultures, right? Especially in the US, where it's praised as hard work, right? The individualist mindset is counterproductive and an utterly absurd way to view the world. So if you got that independence mindset, like I can do this all by myself, they trying to say you're an idiot. Those are my and for Selena, the producer of Man Talk Monday, and those are my final thoughts.
Get him, Selena.
So again, let me end this like this and say, for those who have been a part of this one, just kidding. Next week, our topic will be there, and there. We're going to talk about why the hell you got a high school diploma and you still using there, and there wrong. And also then and then. And
mine and mine.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? All right, so come back next week. Yeah, mines, and don't know the difference between past and past. So,
sorry for your loss.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it all. We're gonna figure out, how did you graduate from Lakeview?
How?
I got one. On tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from? I guarantee you, if there's a church gathering going on right now, somebody is saying that phrase. And we don't know when tomorrow is or which on they talking about.
Yeah, on tomorrow at Bible study. Somebody texting that right
tomorrow.
Now. Yeah, it's just tomorrow. Hey, save your character. You don't need to use them letters. Save those.
That preposition doesn't belong there.
It is just tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just tomorrow. Take them two letters and do something else productive with it. You just wasting energy. You're wasting air. Gas too high for you to be using all them letters.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next week on another episode of Queen3.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
We smiling or what we doing?
The Queen Bee has arrived.
You know. What's your out then? So I'm gonna start with both of y'all's hands right here.
Look for my thumb.
Look for your thumb.
Like if you can see my thumb on this mic.